Welcome back to the show. You are kicking with me, Kelly, the hostess with the mostest on Afterburn. And my boo thing, DJ Kim Nick D's on the ones and twos. Now, Maze, we have a very special guest in studio with us tonight by the name Vivienne Taa.
Huh?
She's, yes.
Vivienne Taa.
Yeah. Taa.
Taa.
You know what? Fine. Good evening, Vivienne. How are you?
Good evening. I'm very well. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed some of the vibes already.
The pre-vibes, yeah?
Yes.
But how do you pronounce your name? Because I'm a new Lisa.
Vivienne.
What's Taa?
Taa.
Light.
Light. Nuru. Mwanga.
Hizo
zote zinafaa.
Spicy. I like it. I like it. Yes, Vivienne Taa. She's light.
I like
in our life.
Mtaani wananiita Taa ya Lang'ata.
Taa ya Lang'ata.
Ndio.
Yeah. Giveaway. But all right, Vivienne, let's just start from the jump. All right. Now I know you're well-renowned just stylist and fashion designer, right?
Yeah.
Under the brand Vivienne Taa. So let's get into that. How did you decide that you had wanted to get into, the fashion industry?
Getting into fashion was an interesting journey. When I was growing up, my mom used to make our clothes. And at that time, it didn't feel like it was anything cool because, everyone else had their clothes bought.
Yeah.
But that means I grew up with, sewing machines, patterns, fabrics. And it was the beginning of my inspiration and interaction with fashion. And along the way, along life, my mom got cancer and passed on. And during that season, I just kept thinking of what can I do to keep like her memory alive, something like that I enjoyed and she enjoyed as well. And it was fashion.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, I started it like a hobby. It was just something I enjoyed to do, and it made me remember my mom, nicely.
So it still keeps that bond for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I started just I went back to school and studied fashion design.
Yeah.
And then I went to my mother's house. I took her old sewing machine.
Yeah.
And I would just make stuff for myself.
Wow.
But where I was working at that time, my colleagues would be like, oh, I like your dress. I like this thing you made, do the same for me. And before I knew it, I had so many referrals. I had to step up.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it moved from being just a hobby, something I did as a pastime that I enjoyed, to something...
A business.
That was, a business. So that's how Vivienne Taa, the fashion brand, was born. Yeah.
So right after that, you're recognized by Graça Machel. Now that's something huge.
Yes.
All right. As an entrepreneur just from Kenya.
Yeah.
You made the top 60.
Yes.
All right. So and after that, you even went to Thailand because the queen.
Yes, I did.
Considered like your own garment. So I was like, listen. You started off just from the inspiration through your mom.
Yes.
And now moving on to that, what did that signify for you? Was that like a moment for you?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It's just that realization that all the work you've been putting in is paying off. And I don't like mediocrity. I like to do my things.
Perfection.
Yeah, like really well.
Yeah.
And the people who work for me will tell you, I can rework things so many times just to get it right. But, just getting that recognition from Graça Machel Trust and from even the Queen of Thailand, an invitation to showcase in Bangkok, it was massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say it catapulted your career when it comes to fashion? Because as you can see, this is something you made yourself.
This is Vivienne Taa.
Yeah, exactly. So, being from Kenya,
yes,
this would definitely just give a background as to who you are.
Yeah.
So for being recognized by both of these people, it definitely just shot you out into the market.
It did.
Yeah.
But also locally, I had worked with some renowned names. I've done something with Kaleche, Momo.
Nice.
Kampua. I'm trying to remember the name of this rugby player, Colin Sinjera.
Nice, yeah.
And a couple of other names,
Yeah.
especially in sports and showbiz. I've worked with quite a number of people. And it's rewarding. It's rewarding,
Definitely.
you know, when you see someone post a photo of something you made for them and they love it.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like, oh, okay, the early mornings, the late nights,
Yeah, it gives you that motivation.
It's not for nothing.
Yeah.
It really counts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I think is super cool is that besides you being an entrepreneur, you having your own fashion house, you have decided to branch into the political world.
Yeah,
right?
yes.
So now for me, that doesn't add up because I'm like, sis, you're making brilliant clothes, you're being recognized, you have all these opportunities, but now you've decided you want to make a difference, right?
Yes.
So how did you ever get to that point of being like, you know what, this is what I want to do, and I want to represent Langata? How did you get to that point?
Before I answer that, I'll say first I live in Langata and in the constituency, and I have always participated in the democratic process as a voter. I have never missed any election, you know, voting. So in terms of participation, I was always engaged. I have always followed what was happening in the political arena. But my involvement was progressive. My getting to the point where I'm saying, you know, I can run for elective office, it was very progressive. But I think the journey, interestingly, began when I participated in this show called Miss President. It aired in 2019.
Yeah.
And it was mainly a show to push the agenda that women can lead.
Yes.
Women are able and they're capable. So after participating in the show, I got recruited by Orange Democratic Movement, ODM party.
Okay, yeah.
And one of the things that they were really keen on seeing me do was champion for the voice of young women within the political space because of the recognition that there are not very many who are in that space. And they felt that I would be an asset, you know, in that area. So I joined the party and I quickly got involved in affairs of the party very quickly. And I even served in the office of the Secretary General. So it gave me like my introduction into politics 101, but more like an observer, not really involved in the decision making per se, but just participatory, which is still good. So aside from that, that was the beginning essentially. And progressively, you know, taking part, getting involved in political conversations, political events, you know, slowly I gained the confidence that, you know, if really we are always having this conversation of 2/3 gender rule, and the conversation of having more women involved has been also progressive. There's been a lot of, you know, advocacy towards it. Why not? You know, why would I not? The party also invested in me by taking me through several trainings, you know, just to prepare you. Because like in any space you're in, whether it's agriculture or real estate, you really have to get training on what to expect in that arena.
And for you, being a woman now in this political party, and you know that traditionally in the African society, it's only men who make serious decisions, all right? Now you come forth and you're like, I want this, but pause, now I have another question within this question. So for you, would you say you are a go-getter, you're the person who's like, you know, I'm going to be feisty and I'm going to commit to this? Or was it that you were just, you know, helped by other women who are like, you know what, would love your representation? It was just, you know what, guys, I'm going to do this myself.
I'd say a combination.
Yeah.
I've had some pretty strong women who've held my hand.
Yeah.
You know, Gladys Wanga, Esther Passaris, women in my party are pretty strong, and their voices, you know, you cannot drown them.
Yeah.
So they've held my hand, and that has helped. But also, I'm a go-getter. I like to go for things that I believe I can, you know, make a difference in. And just like I got into fashion and, you know, tasted success, I think I can do the same. I believe I can do the same even for politics. And not just me. I think anybody who really believes that, you know, you can make a difference in a certain area, you get into it. You get into it and you focus. Yeah, focus on the prize.
So back to the main question then. So for you being a woman in this political party, obviously you face a lot of challenges.
Yes.
So what kind of challenges have you faced thus far? Is it like, as I've said, people don't believe you because you're a woman, that you should be able to make these kind of decisions? Or were you smooth sailing because now you had the guidance of other people?
There's a bit of both.
Yeah.
There's a bit of smoothness when you have other people holding your hand and kind of showing you the way.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you don't go through challenges, especially when you are a first-time, political candidate. Not everybody will think you're credible enough to run for office. But I think you don't listen to the naysayers, you focus on what you want to do and what your vision is. The vision is not given to everyone, and it's given to each person for a reason in whatever arena you're in. So my vision for leadership is very clear. And I know that being in a political party, it means there are various interests. It's not just my own interests. So you need to be open-minded to understand that, sometimes things can either work in the way that you expect or want, or they may not. But you need to be ready to accept and see how else you can be, relevant, how else you can add value. And that's what helps. But because you asked about the challenges, of course there's intimidation. There's a lot of intimidation. There's a lot of, I don't know whether to call it social media,
Cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying.
Yeah, bullying, people calling you names, saying, you'll never make it, you're not good enough. And a lot of these people who say these things are strangers, like people who've never met you. So how do you deal
with those kind of situations where some people are constantly attacking and you're only doing your best? How do you handle situations like that?
I mean, you're prepared for it. When you get into politics, it's part of what to expect. But yes, the trainings help a lot because they guide you on what to expect, how to react, how to handle, various situations. So those help a lot, Yeah, it's easier, I think, for me if you've gone through the trainings and if you're like totally green, you've never interacted with politicians before or been involved. It's maybe a little harder to deal with.
So have you ever gone to a moment like where you've seen a comment or just someone randomly shouting at you some absurd things, and it's made you feel like, you know what, I don't need this. I want to give up.
I think for me, my reaction is always, if it's someone I don't know, some random person, I'm like,
you don't care?
I don't care. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change my vision. It doesn't change my drive. It doesn't change my ambition. They do not know me. I'm a total stranger to them.
Okay, but
I think the ones that maybe get to you are the ones by people close to you.
Yeah, exactly. So
those are the ones, because you see, you expect the people close to you to support you.
For sure.
So the ones that really touch are the ones from people who you know. People who maybe have seen you, you've grown up with them, you went to school with them, and they still tell you, what? Just stay at home. Don't bother with this thing.
What about in the political hallways? Do you also get those kind of comments? And
from some people, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
And it absolutely hits you as well,
especially those comments of Slay Queen. Oh, yeah. Or, you're just a flower girl.
Wow.
But I'm glad, like for myself particularly, I'm glad that even if someone attempted to use that on me, first I know it's not true, so it won't affect me. But I believe I'm intelligent, and my work can prove that, both in the business field and in the political field. My work, what I've done, if anybody checked, or went, through it, you can see that, I'm not just, yes, I'm a blonde, I know, but not in the literal sense, you see. So that doesn't really affect me.
So when it comes to leadership in this country, you've seen that the youth are also very vocal in what they like and what they do not like. But now speaking from, now their position, because you're the person who's vying for a political seat. Now, for me, how should I be encouraged now through your leadership that you're going to serve me? All right?
Yes.
And the second question would be, all right, so how would you encourage me? How would I be able to make that transition? Because you have, from the creative industry to now the political one, how would I be able to transition as a youth in the country? Yeah, how am I able to transition with you and just also be able to help build the economy in the country?
So your first question was about how do you trust or believe that I will follow through with the things that I say that I'll follow through. I think with every political leader or every leader, the thing that sets you apart is your values.
Okay.
What are the things you stand for? What have you done in the past? Like, how have you managed your affairs in the past? Because that's what we'll use to gauge whether you're able to follow through.
Okay.
Like, are you someone who can start something and see it through? Or do you just talk?
Yeah.
Because when you look at, it doesn't matter someone's background. Someone can come from farming, from the legal profession.
True.
You can be a teacher. You've seen people transition. You can be a doctor, but still transition into political leadership. So even for people in the creative space, it's not impossible. It's just accepting that it's a different arena, being willing to learn and network and grow. Because it doesn't happen like overnight. It's like, for me, it's been step by step, planning, interacting, engaging with people. So you can trust that the things that I say I will do, the difference that I believe I can make, you can trust that if I could start a business and grow it, then it means I can start my journey with you as your representative and give back, and grow you and bring value to the people because of the values that I hold. Yes, and the character that I have. Character defines a man.
Sure.
So what kind of character does this person have? If you're known as to be devious, then it means when you get there, it'll just be it'll be multiplied. So look at the character of the person to be able to tell, are they believable?
But the thing about, okay, let me be frank about it.
Yes.
The thing about most politicians is during this period, everyone has this hype.
Yeah.
And of course, they humble themselves.
Yeah, of course, you're humbling yourself and
Yeah,
you're
they humble
presenting a
themselves.
certain version of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, me as a youth, I'm going to be like, you know what? Vivienne
Yeah.
is on my side. She's doing this and that. She's saying this. She's addressing all the issues I'd definitely love to hear.
Yeah.
But then now, the moment you get into office, oh, girl, oi, oi, exactly.
That's
so at
why
the end of the day,
that's why I talked about character, because character, it's not very easy to change.
True.
Like quickly
can't
who you are.
beat
If
an
you
old dog with tricks.
stand for integrity, it's very difficult to shift. If you stand for certain values like justice and you're passionate about things like that, how someone can be passionate about sports or music? If it's a passion you have, tell me how easy it is to move you from your music to something else.
Most of these politicians, once wamepata hiyo
that's
kiti,
it, man.
they
don't
go
care about,
MIA.
they don't care about
Ikifika tena
nobody.
time ya elections unawaona sasa wanajitokezea wanakuja
Oh,
kutumizia
my
hizo
manifesto
masera
is
zao.
this and that. I'm going to provide this and that for you. By the time I get into office, trust me.
MIA.
Yeah, you don't understand because you've been preached for so much. So how do you plan to be different? Because now we've had everything. You get, as youth, we've had everything.
Yeah.
everything.
So how are you going to be different?
I'd say look deeper into the person, past the hype.
Okay, how do we look deeper into you?
Yeah.
No, you unachambua, unazungumza na mtu, you know, you look at what they've done, like in the past, how have they carried themselves? What are you known for? Because those are the things that define you. If you're known to be a liar, chances are you will continue to lie.
All right, now through your professions, right?
Yeah.
Management at KQ.
Yes.
Your fashion house.
Yes.
And now the transition into political work.
Yes.
Now someone who does not know you at all, but knows that you are a fashion designer.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you expect them to be like, you know, I'm going to listen to Vivienne. Vivienne knows what she's... Yeah, I'm going to vote for Vivienne. How am I supposed to do that? Yeah, how are you reaching out to youth? How am I supposed to know and be certain that my vote being given to you is going to
be a waste?
Yeah, it won't be a waste of time.
It can never be a waste, you know. It can never be a waste.
Do you see that because of the party you're associated with?
No. I say that because in your participating in the process, whether the person you vote for wins or doesn't win, the thing is your voice was heard. It got involved. You know, you were able to discern between, okay, I have 6 or 7 or 5 or whatever number of candidates, and you decided candidate A. You see, that means you are engaged, you are involved, you want to see something better for Kenya and for your community. So first of all, that's the win. whether your person wins or not, that in itself is a win. It means you want better for more than yourself. Like, it's not just about you, it's about your family, it's about your community, it's about your country. So that's the first win. But then the second thing is, when I speak for myself, I've worked hard to build a profile. A profile of someone credible, a profile of someone believable, you know, a profile of someone who delivers. And if that's not enough to convince someone, then there's very, you know, little that I can do. But in addition to that, as a politician and as someone who's on the campaign trail, it's partly why you have to have campaign activities to go out and meet potential voters so that you engage them and interact with them. For people who've never maybe seen you or heard you, then they have an opportunity to ask you questions, to engage with you, to know what your vision is. And from there they can make, you know, an informed decision. But I think that's how it works. You can either engage with someone like one-on-one or engage with the
masses.
No. Like the people can engage with you one-on-one or engage with your content and see what kind of person you are to deduce what you're going to, if you're able to deliver on the vision that you say you will deliver.
When it comes to the youth, all right, now I definitely want to be part of now your movement and I want to support. How would you encourage me now to do so?
Okay. So you can get involved by volunteering, basically, to share information or, you know, just communication that's coming out of the campaign with your networks and people you know, just to get the word, to amplify the message. So that's one of the ways you can get involved. You can get involved in the community outreach activities where we get to engage with voters and, you know, talk to them one-on-one. Answer their questions and basically sell the vision. Those are the two main ways that you can get involved. But also, if you are skilled in something, like there are guys who are skilled in graphics, there are guys who are skilled in putting videos or editing videos together and stuff like that. You know, you can also help put content together to help push this agenda. I'm also trying to see if I can work with maybe like graffiti artists or people in dance, just for content creation.
Now, you've spoken about social media. I still have a question about social media and the graphics. But first, when you go on ground, when you meet people in the community, what kind of issues do they bring forth to you? Like, me, I'll be like, all right, here, there's no water. Here, there's no electricity. I don't have enough funding. The kind of schools that we have, no desks, all that kind of stuff. So what kind of issues do you face on ground? What issues are the people telling you about?
I can tell you right now, the biggest issue people are facing is the cost of living. It's affecting everyone across the board. You know, whether you're upper class, lower class, middle class, everyone is affected. You know, the cost of basic food items has really escalated. And people are feeling the pinch. And that's why I keep telling people when I engage them, we had a bill in Parliament in 2018 called the Tax Laws Amendment Bill. This bill, basically, it was approved. It was approved in the House and it went on to be assented to by the President. But it's one of the things that caused this to happen because it added like VAT to some basic food items and gas, for example, cooking gas. So it's part of the reason why some of these things have gone up. But then, so that's why people should ask themselves, who are you sending to the National Assembly? Because this is where laws that affect everyone in this country are made. So it's not, the National Assembly is work, it's business, it's not just about hype. It's not just about being popular. It's about, do you understand the Constitution of Kenya? Do you understand the effect of these laws that we pass? So, you know, some of the things, when people are voting, consider who you're sending there, because your first job, constitutionally, your first job as a member of Parliament is to represent the people. You are their voice. And the only way you do that is when you engage them, because I can't represent you if I'm not talking to you. How will I know what your issues are? It basically means that I'm representing my own interest, not yours. And that's wrong.
Now, through that, you know what my issues are. Like you said, you're going to come and fix this road. And you said that's in public interest, not your own. You said you're going to do this for the people. And then what happens the moment Yeah, the moment you get into now office, your job is to represent. So what happens to the issue that I've brought forth like that?
No, your job is not only to represent. There are 4 key areas or roles that a member of parliament has. Representation is just one of them. Another one of them is managing the constituency development fund that every constituency gets for grassroots, development projects. Another one of them, of course, is holding the government accountable as to how it uses public, resources. And another big one is legislation. Legislation is basically lawmaking. And lawmaking is setting the stage for how money will be, spent where, how much goes to education, healthcare, infrastructure,
so
and all that.
So what do you intend to do with yours, with the current issues that you've seen?
Yeah, so I was telling you, one of the issues, of course, is the high cost of living.
Sure.
And one of the ways we can cushion that is, of course, either through legislation, introducing maybe amendments to some of these laws, like tax laws and stuff like that. So that maybe there can be a review. It can only be done at National Assembly level. But one of the other things I am committing to do is using part of our Constituency Development Fund to give grants to small-scale business people, small-scale traders. Because the Constituency Development Fund, like in Langata, we get 137 million every year. The bulk of it is used for bursaries, educational bursaries. But, it doesn't mean that that's the only thing you can do with it. You can actually subdivide part of it, for bursary and part of it to give people a boost for their businesses, because it's through business that you can earn, more income to help cushion you against, just the rising cost of living.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I'm proposing to do. The other thing in my constituency that's a really big deal is water. We've had perennially for a long time some estates that don't get water for even months, and they have to buy. And of course, if you're buying, it's quite expensive. It's not cheap. So one of the things that we could do is get boreholes in some of these estates, so that especially the most affected. It's not possible to do like each and every estate, but you can do like just a study and pick the main ones, so that at least that issue is sorted out. But of course, to sort it out sustainably, you'd have to work with the county government. Yeah. Because now
that's perfect.
Yeah, because now it's not a national government level kind of thing. So it's mainly controlled and managed by the governor and the county government.
Yeah. But now in terms of water, right? That's an issue for the county government.
Yes.
Now for you, how are you able to push them to the point where you're going to get the services that you need done?
Yeah, that's why I said, the boreholes is something you're directly in control of, because you can use even CDF funds to do the boreholes, for example, and sort out some of the most affected, areas. But then when it comes to working with county government, it takes your ability to lobby, your ability to work with other levels of government and other elected leaders and appointed leaders to resolve whatever situation there is. But when it comes to water, we have something called Northern Tunnel Collector. It's a project right now. It's not been completed yet, but it's a project of the national government where they're trying to channel water from the main dams into some of the affected areas, not Langata only, but some of the affected areas in Nairobi, so that there's greater flow of water coming in, and then maybe like sort out piping to sort out some of the places that are highly affected by lack of water. So I think if we can follow through with that, that would greatly help a lot.
Now, when it comes to that, don't you think there's a confusion that comes forth? Because now, all right, I said that was supposed to be under the county government, but now you also, as an MP, should apply that pressure. And then the MCA will also come in, all right? And then Parliament will also say something about the same thing. But then everyone is divided with their own different kind of tasks. So how exactly is that issue supposed to be handled if now you want to take that? Yeah, how is it supposed to be handled officially? Because you want to be on ground, you want to be part of the process, but now this is also something that county government wants to be part of the process, the senator, the MCAs, everybody. Too many cooks spoil the broth.
Not
but then
really.
At the end of the day, does anybody get any kind of service?
Not
Nobody
really,
does.
because the government is one. It's just divided into national government and county government, and the mandates are very clear. So in terms of budgetary allocations, say like, for infrastructure and water and stuff like that, some of them, there's some budgets that sit with national government, there's some that sit with county. But as a member of parliament, you're basically working with the elected lead, both elected and appointed. So elected, you'll work with the MCA, because you see, in my constituency, for example, I have 5 wards, and each ward has a member of county assembly, an MCA. So if there's an issue in their ward, it's an issue for me too, you see. So we are working together, not against each other.
No, it's not that you guys should work
we are working together in tandem to deliver for the people, you see. And that brings in the governor also, because in Nairobi, he's an elected person, or he or she is an elected person in the city. So basically, you want the same thing. You want to improve things for the people of the area. So you need each other to deliver. And the same goes for even the appointive leaders, because if you say the CS for water, it's in your best interest to make sure that delivery of water to the people of Kenya in totality is sufficient. So you have to have like-minded people, and that's why it's important, like when you have a vision you're following through for like if the president says one of my missions is water, then you all, align, because you're working towards like one vision.
I mean, I don't think I've seen that happening before, because everybody goes into those kind of offices with their own interests at hand. But I want to take you back to the part of social media.
Yes.
You said that we can be part of the movement and help by, tweeting anything, just being on ground, volunteering and all those kind of things. You said you're going to get graphic designers and everything, you want to work with them. But honestly, at this point, it feels like it's something just for the hype, all right? So because now once, all right, you get into office, and then I was like, what, your graphic designer or your social media manager? There's only so much I can do, but I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it to sustain your team, and I'm creating an image of you. But now at the end of the day, how does that help me create this kind of incentive or influence the rest of the community to join? Because you have certain intentions. But now just showing me all that through social media, that's the best way to catch us youth, because we're always on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. But then what after that? Because I'll see it on my phone, I'll click on it, but because we're not into, involving ourselves politically because we just feel lied to. Now, me involving myself just as your graphic designer doesn't bring any sort of value. So how would you be able to change that and shift my mindset to being somewhere of, we're actually going to implement a couple of things and be able to raise even the economy or opportunities for the youth to get jobs, or just recognized for certain inventions? Because youth are out here doing their thing, but until something very tragic happens, that's when people will start talking about it. So how are you going to be able to involve yourself a lot more to ensure that when you eat, I eat as well, but so does the rest of Langata?
Okay, so I think the first of all, everyone has a responsibility. You see, the responsibility for change is not just with me, it's with all of us.
Okay.
So it starts with recognizing that we all have a part to play in this. It's not one person's job. It is all, we are all involved in one way or another. The second thing is you need to plug in. So you need to be intentional. You cannot do it in isolation. You cannot, sit in your corner and say, I'm tweeting, and you have no connection to maybe the team or the person. It's important to plug in and connect so that you are aware of, the messaging and the content being created, and you are part of it, because that's how you don't get left out. Typically when you're not part of something, how will anybody remember that, you are here, you are part of this journey, you are part of this team. So it starts by being intentional and plugging in and working within, the confines, say, of the team, for example, so that you know what's happening, you know what's being created, and you're involved in the journey. And part of what that does is it makes you able to hold the person you are championing for accountable. Because you can tell me, hey, Vivienne, we agreed that this was the vision and this was what you're going to deliver. I'm not seeing you doing X, and yet I pushed it to my friends and community. So you can hold me accountable because you you're in there, you see. So I think that's how you do it. You cannot do it remotely or in isolation. So you have to make a decision and say, you know what, I want to plug into this. In addition to that, if you're a registered voter, vote. Vote, because that's how you implement change. You implement change. You cannot do it on Twitter alone, you know, saying fagia wote or whatever it is you want to say. You can say it on Twitter, but if you don't participate, then it will not matter. Votes are counted based on, you know, numbers, the people who turned up. So I might be popular on Twitter or on YouTube or on whatever platform, but on voting day, if the people who are for me don't show up and cast their vote, that's it. I'll still lose.
Yeah. But Mazaya Grace, thank you for your honesty and thank you for coming through tonight. Hopefully we'll have you back here in studio once you've been nominated.
After I have been sworn in.
All the best.
Yeah, so we can have more conversations about this.
Yes.
And definitely be able to involve the youth a lot more.
Yes.
When it comes to, you know, being active politically.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But so, before you go, let me ask you, what's happening with the country in the fuel shortage?
Hey, Sasa.
Bus.
Do you really want to go there?
No has come out to say anything.
Yeah, no one is talking about it.
Yeah, menyamaza ni nini?
What's that? Cheza chini.
Oh, tunachoma. Hey, guys, hey. The fire has gone too much. Yeah, the fire has gone. Whoa.
But Nikona behind the scenes. Actually, Nikona behind the scenes.
Good. Our advocate. Kim Nick D. But seriously, Vivienne, thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm very glad that you're able to ask, you know, those questions and share your perspective about how you see leaders and leadership. I think where my kind and our kind of leadership maybe is different is, you know, women have compassion generally more than men. And yes, generally. And even when you go, like, just by statistics of how women leaders handle the whole COVID saga, you find that countries that are led by women did a lot better.
True.
So, guys, give us a chance. Tutembe pamoja.
Wewe. Sawa, tuna noma. But guys, tonight we had a very interesting conversation with Vivienne. And we also had a different conversation as well. Now, Vivienne, we asked the guys this. Is it a must, so when you are dating somebody, this is before you become exclusive, that you will end up in a relationship? Ni must?
No.
Si must?
Si must.
Kim, you're out now. Thanks. Kim has been out.
There's no guarantee that when you're dating someone, you will end up, like, you know,
then
together.
Stop wasting others' time.
No, you're not wasting time. You're getting to know the person.
Exactly. You're feeling around.
Yeah, and figure out if this is what you want.
Kim, you've never been in a situation where you're feeling a babe, left midway, you're like, hey, apa. And then you went on to somebody else and you worked out. Man,
yeah, so be open-minded. Be open-minded. Not every dating maybe period lands into, like, you know, ends up into like a relationship. Some do, some don't. Hey, it's life.
It is life, man.
Yeah. C'est la vie.
C'est la vie. But guys, you know, before we step out, I need to tell you one thing and one thing.
Oh no, only. Before you say your one thing and one thing only. I cannot leave here before saying what for Langata. If you vote in Langata, please, and you're a member of ODM, we're having our nominations next week on Thursday. I'll be on the ballot. Please turn out and vote for me.
Yeah?
Yep.
Turn up, guys. Turn up.
Turn up.
And turn out, make the right decision, all right? Make your voice heard. Guys, this is our time. And if you don't take that opportunity, bro, itabidi sasa. Uji sort to apokando. But guys, as I told you before we step, I need to tell you one thing and one thing only. You need to drink your water, stay hydrated, and mind your business. Good night. Good night.